Yeah,
name
some
recognition.
and something my agent always tells me, always tells like the other actors at our agency is like, you know, because keep in mind, like the auditions we get through them, this is cases of casting directors seeing our profiles that our agents have posted and reaching out to our agents to see us to come audition for them. And that our agents are very emphatic about that, and that really helps to know, because it's like, oh wow, like, because you know what I mean, like it makes the process a lot less intimidating. You're not seeing the casting directors, these gatekeepers. You're realizing that, oh wow, they're really needing help from us, as much as we are kind of needing sort of like a leg up from them. And
Well,
it's
what
just compliment. It's like it's so flattering and thrilling and complimenting to know, like, they're having all these like analytical conversations about you and sort of like justifying how well you fit the character, and like the whole process of it really fascinates me. Like,
it is fascinating. There's so many moving parts that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of
Like, I don't know if
yeah.
like you should really sorry, I know I'm like totally steamrolling here, but I
No, no,
promise
no.
this is
This
just
is about you, mate.
okay, got you. Sorry. But like, have you? I don't know if you've heard of him. He's this YouTuber called Brian Seeker, and it's so cool. He does like all these like recasts and like fan casts of movies.
Ah, okay.
Like and like again, like he uses he's great sort of like analysis of like who the characters are and how they fit with the like actors he would decide, and
Interesting.
it's almost like a wonderful fascinating sort of science. Like it
It
works so,
is.
if you're an
I'm
actor
sorry, we're gonna have to take a quick welcome back before we go rudely interrupted by Zoom. Yes, so as you were saying, you're quite passionately
of
going into
course.
this topic, which is
Yeah.
the science of, and the science, the art, the mystery of casting people.
Yeah, because honestly, for anyone who's an actor or anyone who's an aspiring casting director, please do check Brian Seeker's channel out. Because honestly, it just gives you a tremendous appreciation and understanding of how casting directors think
Mm.
when choosing characters for certain roles. And honestly, you know, it really goes to show, like, it isn't just about talent. Like, although it may sound superficial, looks do place into it. You
Well,
do have like let me put it this way, Sylas, right? Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, both amazing actors, right? Now, I don't know if you know this, but in pre-production for Thor, Tom Hiddleston was actually originally auditioning for the role of Thor before he got rejected and cast in the role of Loki instead.
yeah.
And again, as I've established before, he's just as great an actor as Chris Hemsworth. But it's like, we look 11 years on since that movie and how amazing Tom Hiddleston is in that role. Like, he really, the casting directors very clearly made the right decision there.
And there's,
And,
I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, man. Like sometimes it can be ridiculous thing that you just can't help, you know? Because I mean,
and
like there's
yeah,
always the element of like the on-screen chemistry, which is important. That something that
of
you can help. You
course,
can be
yeah.
more personable, less personable. But sometimes it simply comes down to things like height.
Well, I mean,
And it might
personally,
not be
like,
your height. It might be your
yeah,
co-star's height. It might be the
yeah,
fact that the characters you're playing. It's a bit like Sudoku that once you start, you need to figure out if that's the right number, and sometimes you have to go back around and start all over again because
yeah,
if
yeah.
you pick this, if it's a family you're casting, you pick the dad, you pick the mom. Now you have to pick the kids, but maybe. Some famous kid actor comes along, so now I have to change the dad because you're like the studio says we want the kid, get rid of the dad, get someone else to
Yeah,
play the
yeah,
dad, and you're like, oh,
yeah, of course. But I mean, although like I said, though, Silas, although it can sound superficial, like when you kind of like look into sort of like history of like what actors were being considered for certain roles, who almost got it and why not, and then you look at the actual finished product, you will kind of usually see like it does usually make sense, to be honest. So I I I can totally get it. I mean, like it can even be something like, as simple as like, say if like you're auditioning for the supporting role in like a TV show, but say maybe you look too physically similar, or your voice sounds too similar to like the actual lead actor who they already cast in that show. And so, unfortunately, although you're talented, it would kind of make sense then for casting to have to go with a different actor, because when that show comes out, if they do cast you, it's going to be really distracting for the audience if they have a main character they're meant to focus on, but there's also a supporting character who looks and almost sounds exactly like the lead actor.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? But,
absolutely.
like, it is interesting though to have that kind of like a debate about it, of
Yeah,
course.
and there's a realistic chance that in the casting room and the director and the producer are like, well, listen, we only have one lead actor in this, we can't have two, so
Yeah,
or
exactly, exactly. This town's not big enough for the two of us. Like,
yeah,
something like
yeah, things like that. Yeah, things like that. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, what has sort of entertained me and sort of calmed me down a little bit was, have you seen Call My Agent? I've watched a little bit of the French version.
yeah, yeah. I
And
will be honest. This is going to make me sound very stuck up. I only watched like the original, like French version. It was called 10%.
yeah, yeah, I prefer to watch original stuff as well because it's just because I want to see what it's like and it's different. I see a lot of English and American production, so I actively try to
Like,
seek out different ones.
yeah, like I mean, I know. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a remake. Maybe they're part of like the same universe as like 10%. I do know there is like the British version and the Indian version, but I don't know. I just prefer the French version, really. Probably because like me being fluent in French, I just need to kind of brush up on the language.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
monsieur.
I don't know. Like I do tend
Humble
to get
brag,
really
huh?
kind of like stuck up about those sort of remakes. Like I know, like the American remake of BBC Ghosts is apparently out now. Like that's been managing to
Mhm.
run for 4 seasons, but that you are gonna have to like pretty much fight me tooth and nail to the death to get me to watch that
But
shit. Like I'm
the point
sorry.
I was trying to get to, my friend, the point I was trying to get to was no worries, is the fact that watching this series, and obviously it's a comedy, is heightened. There's things like it's slightly exaggerated, but you get a feel of like the madness that it is, and you take a step back and you go, "Oh, we're all in the same,
Oh,
crazy fucking industry." Okay,
yeah, yeah.
like it humanizes these people more a bit because you're like, they're not just the person that says no to you; they're the person like trying to, stay sane at the end of the day. And interestingly enough, as we're talking about this casting stuff, it does play. Now you understand why there's casting types. Why there's, I hate casting types in the sense that I want to be able to play all kinds of roles and not
Of
just
course,
like
yeah,
I'm from Eastern Europe. The amount of Eastern European gangster and pimp and
yeah.
that come my way, it's like, bruv, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
in a way, like not it makes sense, but you kind of understand why it happens when you know that the amount of drama and madness that goes on behind the scenes. Sometimes they just get me a person that can do the thing, and I don't have to like it's one less thing to worry about. Can you do? Okay, Eastern European pimp, lovely. Let's go. I don't. I mean, they don't say
Oh,
that,
I
but
feel like there's some realness to that example.
but
uh,
you get what I mean. That it's you can see why types are a thing.
oh, of course, of course. I mean, I would say typecasting can only become like kind of like annoying when it becomes like obvious, like with actors like Matthew Perry or Topher Grace, where it's like, okay, this isn't really a whole thing where like, oh, they're playing another like smarmy, like non-threatening handsome guy, not non-threateningly handsome guy. Yeah, this is just Matthew Perry being Matthew Perry. This is just Topher Grace being Topher Grace. But coming back to what you said about how like there is that kind of like frustration of being pigeonholed, like say,
Yeah.
like you said, like getting put in the Eastern European gangster box. Me, because I've got kind of like a guy next door type of thing going for me. I am totally open to kind of staying in that pigeonhole in the moment. But my sort of ambition going forward is like I can do what Johnny Depp did, where it was like he had like sort of a niche character that he fit into a while at the start of his career, and then once his brand was established, then he could start like doing all these like different kind of
Well, yeah, I
transformative things.
think
Because that way, Silas, when you have an established brand, when you do all these different characters after it, it has a bigger impact on your audience because they have something to contrast and compare. Like,
yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
oh wow, this actor, I knew him for a couple of years as this teen heartthrob, but oh my god, suddenly he's this creepy outcast with scissors for fingers. Oh, now he's this runner of a chocolate factory who kind of looks like Michael Jackson for some reason. Oh, now he's this like alcoholic pirate. Do you know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
get what you mean. Yeah, I get what like you need some sort of precedent to be compared against, and if every role is it's different, you can make an argument that the audience is like, well, who are you? You know. But then again, that is the definition of acting. So at some point.